As you see, again, this is Miss White, First Lady of Frisco. We're on Frisco's First Lady podcast and talk show. And I have NEKIA WRIGHT here with me. She is a sound healer. I have worked with her on multiple shows. It's been years since we've been knowing each other. Since Bayview Opera House, we met there. So NEKIA, like, tell us what's going on with you and who you are and what you got going on.
All right. Well, great to be here.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure to support you what you got going on. And I'm super grateful that you made space for me to bring sound healing into your R&B and hip hop.
We got some sound healing stuff here, y'all, that we about to do. I've never experienced this. I'm like,
so
this
ready.
is an object.
What is going on here?
Right. But I'm excited, y'all.
Yeah.
So what got you? I've heard some stuff about like a little bit of how you got into sound healing, like your journey and stuff. But like, if you had to say anything, like what really impacted you, and this is like, no, this is what I'm going to do. This is who I'm going to be. Like, what defines you? Like, this is me.
Oh yeah. So I was an educator. I was a special education teacher for like I had about 2 years into my career, I burnt out, and I loved the job. But I didn't have the skills. I didn't grow up, learning these like emotional coping skills and all this stuff. And so, and then I had my own childhood trauma. I had aged out of the foster care system, like when I was in school. And I knew I had PTSD and all these things. And there were some things I could have done that the doctor told me to do, like, okay, have you tried getting exercise? And I was like, I think this is a little more than just getting some exercise. But actually, as you know, now I'm in my 40s, and the exercise does help. It does. So
don't underestimate exercise.
Don't underestimate the power of exercise. And I was getting prescribed a lot of medication. I was on antidepressants. I was on like Ativan and those.
I've tried Ativan before. Was it for anxiety?
For the anxiety.
Oh my God. And I feel like that was the only one that actually worked, but they don't like prescribing it to you once you leave the house, like only for so long. Like, you know what I'm saying?
They had me. I had like 1.5 milligrams a day, and if I took that 1.5 milligrams a day, I wouldn't be able to do nothing.
Dang, they had me on half, and we getting real, y'all. This is real talk. So let's continue about your journey with your sound, like when you get into sound healing. And, yes.
So I was on this prescription medication, and then I was also, and the problem with that was, if I took it the way they prescribed it to me, I felt like I would just be a zombie. Like I wouldn't be stressed, but I wouldn't be able to really think clearly, anything like that. So then, and then I was self-medicating, right? And so, teachers, we get off at about 3:30, 4 o'clock, so we can hit that happy hour,
right.
Get your little, drinks in. By the time it's 8 or 9, we ready to go home, relax, stuff like that. But that wasn't sustainable, and it wasn't getting down to like the core issues of my trauma. So I was trying all these things, on the weekends. I would just try to like thinking it was helping me to relax, but it was really just adding more stress. And the voices, right? I started doing meditation and like getting into meditation and yoga, and they're telling me to like go into my body, and I'm going into my body. And
I can't do that yoga.
All in my ear, I just heard all this negativity, and
because they say yoga, and y'all get mad all y'all want to, but they say it's the third eye that's supposed to open up some stuff. This is just what I'm hearing. I don't know. I pray. I don't do yoga. I pray. That's my meditation. But with your experience with the yoga, you saying you started experiencing some other stuff.
I started as you start tuning in, and I think this is something they don't tell you is, they're thinking about people who like maybe, that everybody has gone through their micro traumas. And if you've never gone through like a serious trauma, then that micro trauma is your trauma. And they're like, oh, so folks who are like have gone through micro traumas, and they're like, oh yeah, the yoga, and I go in deep and stuff like that. People who have been, you know, like I ran away at 15 with my siblings because I feared for my life type of trauma. Okay, and I never had the support I needed. In the foster care system, I think I saw one therapist one time and they just kind of checked me off the list. And so I never got the support that I needed, and I was mentally ill. And I also had no family I could go and stay with. Like I like, what am I supposed to do? Check myself into a hospital? How is that gonna work out for me as a Black woman? So I knew that shit was going down. Right. And I could feel my how it was impacting everything in my life, but I didn't have anyone that I could just go and be like, oh, I just need to take, you know, a week off or something, and I didn't have that. You know, if I'm not working, then I'm, you know, like I'm not going to be able to eat. And, you know, my mom had been in prison for most of my life. She was in and out of prison during this time. My dad is an unsafe person. So I felt like I felt lost. I felt lost, and I felt like I was doing my best and nothing was enough. And then I've had all this like in my head, like just like anger and frustration around it. And so one day I was out with a friend. She has really bad anxiety too. We were at one of those Himalayan stores. I was living in DC at the time. I'm an East Coast girl. And I played this Tibetan singing bowl, this like, you know, those brass bowls. I asked the lady, I was like, how does this work? And she showed me, and I started playing it. And as soon as it started singing, I was like,
it just did something to your soul.
Right, I felt so relaxed. I turned to my friend, I was like, girl, this feels like a Xanax. I was like, Susan, I need to give you
that's what I felt at your show when I was like, NEKIA, how I do it? And I was in front of all those people, and I was still like, oh my God, like this is a whole nother, you know.
It works.
Yes, it does.
And that's why I do it.
Dang.
Like there was so many other things, and not to say that the other things don't work, like meditation and breathing and exercise and stuff like that. But that's really great for people who have like only experienced up to a micro trauma level, right? Where it's easy for them to bounce back. But for someone like me who like, I was not, you know, like I've gone to doctors and I've told them what I've gone through, and I've had psychologists tell me, I don't know how to support you. You've done more for yourself than we could do for you. And that is not helpful
and
when
that
you
hurts.
don't know
that hurts.
what else to, like this world was not made for me to survive.
I don't even think it was made for us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not the only one that hears that we don't know what's the problem. We don't know how to cure. We don't know what to do. And when you're a doctor and you don't know what to do, that's an issue. Right. And so not only am I dealing with that, but to hear you say that, then this is maybe malpractice or something is not right. Maybe we need more African American doctors and nurses that can understand what we're going through, because this stuff is real.
Right? Know? Like it's like, why are we paying for all this stuff if it's not for us? And if you're not able to serve us? So then I was forced to just use what I had and learn on my own. So I ended up having a traumatic experience at work, and I went on leave and ended up leaving my job. And then I took a year off and I traveled. And during that year off, while I was traveling, I was able to just only think about me and what I needed in each moment. Not what I needed in the future, not what happened to me, but what am I gonna eat today? Where am I gonna sleep tonight? How, you know, like those things. And so it brought me back into thinking about what do I need? And I had another experience. This is when I was traveling in Australia, and I had another experience with the singing bowls. I met these lesbians who invited me to this festival, and there was a woman there playing these crystal singing bowls, like the ones you like the one you played. And again, I was like, laying and listened to it, and I was like, oh, this feels so good in my body. Like I just have never felt so relaxed before. So then I was like, okay, there's got to be something about this. Like the first time, the second time, it's a totally different instrument. I don't, like how I gotta so I started getting more into it, and got my own singing bowl, and I was just meditating with them and playing them, like you see with folks with sound baths, and I was like, oh, this is great. And then one day I had cramps like I got right now, and I laid down on the floor and I took my bowl and I played it on my body, and that changed my world. It kind of helped with the cramps, but I didn't realize how much stress being in pain caused, right? And the stress of the pain completely went away.
Wow.
All of the stress of
Girl,
my body.
I need to get me some. That's what I was gonna ask. Do you sell those?
I
You
want
need to start selling those or something, because I want to buy some. Like, I would rather buy them from you than to go and search where to buy them. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, I want to buy one, now I have to ask you where to get one instead of, like, get it from you. You know what I'm saying?
I'm putting it on my list.
Right,
People have
please.
been asking.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, so I started using it on myself, and then on my friends and all my teacher friends, and I was like, it's not just me, right? Like, this works. Everybody was like, oh yeah, this works. And so, and then it kept working, and everything else would give me like a short-term relief.
Right.
But over time, the anxiety went away and it just never came back.
Nice.
And so then I at that time my mom was out of prison, and so I was like, you know what, I have a job. I'm always gonna have a job. That's why I got this job. I love teaching, but I wanted security. I ain't never had no security in my life before. I want to have a job. I will always have a job, no matter what, no matter where I go, I'm gonna be able to have this job. And so, but my mom didn't have that, and she was being forced to work jobs where people were mistreating her and stuff like that. So I was like, what if I created a job for her where she could focus on healing herself, and then she could learn how to play these instruments, heal herself, and then we could do sound baths together, and that's a way that she could have a job for herself. So that's when I shifted from thinking about it as just like for my self-care and into something like as a career.
Professional. Woo. Yes, y'all. This is good. We still going, y'all. This is good. I'm hoping y'all taking this up, because like, she is real. You can get the sound baths. I'm gonna get I'm like she done opened up something, because I'm like, I changed a little bit. Like, something happened that day at that event where I was just like, I gotta get some more, like, either sound, something, because something hit. It, like you say, it changed.
Where you're like, hey, and you didn't get
and
any
you
drugs
feel it.
for it.
No, it's instantly. It's instantly too.
Right?
You know,
Right?
so
Yeah, and so we can get into the physics of how that happens. Sound travels deeper into the body, and it actually goes down into a genetic level.
Wow.
So it's not just healing our skin or our bones; it's healing us down to our cells, to our genes.
So that's why
That's
it hits
the
so
reset.
fast like that. Right?
Yeah, and it resets the body, and it doesn't matter what's happening, override into relaxation response. And then once we're relaxed, we can think clearly, we can heal faster.
Right.
Everything
Relax more,
happens
'cause I was
when
more
we're
relaxed,
in that
yeah.
relaxed state, and that's when everything can really happen. So yeah, it's like, the reason
this
I
is
do
good.
it is it works.
It works. it has results, guys.
Yeah. You
Okay.
ain't gotta wait 6 months, 3 years. All right, y'all. So we gonna give Miss White here her first sound healing massage. So a lot of people have heard about sound baths. That's where you lay down and you just get bathed by the sounds. But this one is a little different. So the first one we're gonna do is the tuning fork.
And am I supposed to like relax? Like, am I supposed to
let
have
me tell you.
tell me.
So go ahead to relax, lean back,
Here we
uncross
go,
your
y'all.
legs, nice deep breath into your belly, bring it up to your lungs, hold, release out the nose. As you inhale, know that you are surrounded by love and energy. It wants you to be happy, healthy, and successful. As you exhale, you're releasing anything that does not serve you. Serve your joy, your health, and your success. Releasing it with love and gratitude for all the lessons learned, but nonetheless, letting it go so that you can bring in even more of what you need. There you go. So these are the brain tuners. So these are specifically, this is theta waves to get you back into that relaxed state. Can you feel that? Just with the sounds. So these work, they don't have weights on them, and they work by having your body hear the sounds. There you go. I'm going to do one more. Switch those. I'm just helping you to connect to yourself and your body's own healing capacity. There we go. Now, how's that feeling?
Yeah, I just feel like, ooh, yes, it's away.
Now we're gonna move on to the weighted tuning fork. So you can see these have little weights on them, okay? Now these are for feeling, not so much for hearing. So you feel that? We'll start with the low frequency here. You can put these anywhere on the body except for the neck. It's going to reduce the inflammation. The different sizes means they're all different frequencies.
No, I'm about to go to sleep. I keep nodding off.
Look at you. I'm going to bring this one up right here. I want you to feel the difference between these, which are the lower frequencies, and then the higher frequencies. So you feel that difference? And the beauty of it is it's relaxing, but it also clears the mind. It's not like, you know, with weed where we get that relaxation and a little bit of that brain fog. With this, it's the relaxation, but clarity. And for some folks, if you're like too relaxed, it'll actually give you a little bit of energy, kind of like those adaptogen herbs do, where it'll balance you out depending on where you are. And even though we don't do on the neck, I do like to get right there on the collarbone so we can get around. A lot of us hold tension in the shoulders. So we can get those shoulders.
And this is so amazing. Y'all better book her, I'm telling you. How much you charge for this?
All right, I have the friends and family. Y'all have this friends and family because I'm doing it at my house. I need a space, y'all. So if anybody's got a good massage space, that'll work. So I do that for $99 for the hour. You get a full hour.
And this is worth it, y'all.
I had to go into all these spaces that were really white dominated to access holistic health care, to access any like type of wellness services. And they never wanted to go too deep, right? Never want to talk about justice, and rarely wanted to talk about where the actual root and cultures of the practices came from. But these people were getting paid. I mean, and not just a little bit paid. These people were getting paid. And so I started thinking about this, and at that time, this was like 2009, so it was before the pandemic. People weren't talking about sound healing. It was still very, very new. And I realized that I had an opportunity, right? Like, wow, like what if Black folks could get into the sound healing industry early on? What could that do for our community if we could actually be creating jobs in the community that allow us to heal ourselves and heal each other? And how could we do it in a way that was different, to where we can honor the cultures that sound and healing come from? And even thinking about how when I would start talking to folks within other circles about sound healing, they would talk about the crystal singing bowls, but they never wanted to talk about Black music. And I was like, Black music is sound healing, period. Period. Right. I'm not just talking about gospel. I'm not just talking about soul. I'm talking about the 25 to 30 genres of music that we have created here in order to sustain and care for ourselves while we have been forced to experience some of the worst atrocities on the planet that still to this day people do not take responsibility for. And still with that, we have created a culture that has impacted this entire planet. You cannot go anywhere on this planet without hearing something about hip hop.
Right. Or some type of Blackness or African American.
Right.
Like,
right. Look at what we have done with so little. And we didn't do it for just with entertainment and for just with no, this is our culture. This is how we heal and process and trauma. This is how we cope with trauma. It's through art. It's through music. It's not for somebody else to like just experience and be entertained. This is for us to heal ourselves, to really take these things that are happening to us, transmute them into something else so that we can get it out of our bodies, so we can get it out of our spirits. Because if not, we would not have survived. And nobody was talking about this. And so I was like, yo, you can't come to me and try to talk to me about sound healing if you're not gonna talk about the most, like, that is sound healing. And if you can't accept that, then I don't think you understand sound healing. And so I started my own research. That's what inspired me to go to Zimbabwe. But even before that, I started thinking, like, where can I go where I can offer access to the Black community, like, so the Black community can access sound healing, but I need to sustain so that I can get paid. So how can I like work this out? And so at that time I was traveling. I went through, like, I was living in Guatemala for a while. I had some things go down in Guatemala. I was teaching, and I had a white woman from Florida took over our school. Within a month, she fired me without warning on a Friday at 2:30. And I was stranded in another country. And my family was like, my auntie takes care of my sister, she was taking care of my mom, and she's like, girl, I think I could put a little bit on the credit card to get you home. And I was like, nah, auntie, I got this. I hitchhiked from Guatemala through Mexico, up through Tijuana, up north, trimmed about, I don't know how many pounds, and got the money that I needed to jumpstart my life here in San Francisco. I shit you not.
Wow.
Hitchhike. We took like 13 tractor trailers through Mexico. I was with two other women. I remember when I ran away from home when I was 15 with my siblings, and my dad was like at work, and I was just like, this is the scariest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, if I could just get through this, I will be able to do anything. And y'all, I have.
And you have.
For real. Like, I mean, from like, y'all don't even know.
Right,
just
no, you
to
have.
get here. And when I was in Mexico, I was like seeing this guy. He was like, all my friends are going to Chiapas, let's go there. So We went there, we were like playing music on the street. I was doing sound healing on the street. That's how I was making money to like eat and live for the day. And we went to Chiapas and I ended up staying with the Zapatistas. And at that time, I don't think I had been ever so heartbroken with education, right? Like I came down, came to work with a school, you know, they hired this person and she's a bully and I'm not here to be bullied. And then she just fired me, but in this real like, you know, like really in a harmful way. And I didn't do anything wrong. And so I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like education has been my career. What do I do? And so I'm here with these Zapatistas. They got 7,000 people. They have their own communities. They have their own schools and everything. And they're like, we don't need anything from the West. We are here to show you what's possible when you step away from capitalism and you come together as community, right? They hosted like 2,000 people at their community college. They get no money from the Mexican government. This is all them. This is what they have done as a community, right? And so from there, and then they were like, in so much gratitude, they were like, we learned this from the Panthers. The difference between us and the Panthers is that black folks don't have their own land. We were indigenous. They were doing the same thing, making them work their land as slaves while the corporations came in. And they were like, no, they took their land back. They actually took the third largest city in that state. They locked up the police, and they did not release them until the Mexican government gave them their land back. Okay? Mm-hmm. So these people, and I was like, wow, how do we do that as black folks here, right? Because we don't have our own land. There's no way for us to do that.
They're taking a lot from us.
Yeah. And but then I was like, business, cooperative businesses. That's the only thing this country respects is a business. We are safer as a registered business than we are as a black human.
We still can provide them taxes through our business.
Yeah, this is our rights.
Right.
So I was like, oh, okay. And then that started getting me thinking about like, what if I could start like a cooperative that's around like black and holistic wellness, where we can be training people, where we can learn how, you know, all of that good stuff. So then, like I said, we kept moving. I ended up going up north, coming back down. I was planning on going to the East Coast. I wasn't planning on staying here in San Francisco. And within like a month of being here, I got a job at the Bayview Y. Teaching an adult sound healing circle. I was an adult healing facilitator I'm less than a month of stepping foot here in San Francisco. Wow. And so then I was like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. Mm-hmm. I'm doing exactly what I had intended to do, and I couldn't even tell you how fast that happened. And then I didn't have a home at the time. I was living in my minivan, mm-hmm. So it was perfect because I could shower and everything. And that's what got me started. And then I was like working on getting my mom out here, and then that's when things changed. My mom passed away 2017, mm-hmm. And I had to really like use all those tools that I had been learning, and all of that space I've been holding for others. I had to hold that space for myself. I went back into teaching. I was like, I can't hold healing space right now for others. I really got to focus on my own healing. I started performing to honor her and getting more into the arts. And then like during the pandemic, I started getting calls like, my friend keep asking me where the bowl lady is, because I wasn't like doing sound healing like in Twin Peaks or anything. I was doing sound healing in Common Core, like on Double Rock, I was like doing sound healing in the hood. I was like, if there's anything going on in the community, I'm there. So people started asking like, where's that bowl lady? Like, what's going on? So then I started realizing like this dream that I had wasn't just for my mother, right? There are so many other black folks who don't have access to high quality, well-paid work that allows them to care for themselves and serve their community, right? We're always asked to either like, you can serve your community, but we're gonna pay you shit, and you just gonna, you're gonna be needing the care you're giving out soon, right? Because you can't sustain. And so I was like, no, we need to be paid well. And for people who who are elders, who are formerly incarcerated, who don't have, you know, like I got the bachelor's, I got the master's, like I got the papers because I needed that shit because I ain't have no other way to get what I needed, right? But not everybody has the capacity to sit through all of that whitewashing to get these papers, right? Especially with the money that it costs. So I was like, this is like, in this wellness field, it's like the arts. It's not about like I can train people, but it's about you putting the work in. The more work you put in, the better you get, the more you get paid, because the more people want to get your services. And so that's what kind of brought me to where I am now. And so now I'm back at the Y, except for I'm getting paid like instead of $20 an hour, my contract is $2.50 an hour. And
get that money, girl.
And in the contracts, the community started saying we want to learn, which is a weighted tuning fork, and then it keeps moving up so that by the end they get a crystal singing bowl. And I've run about over 10, maybe 15 cohorts now, serving hundreds of Black folks here in the community, not just giving them sound healing, but giving them the tools so that they can be out there healing each other and healing themselves. I also offer my own private sessions, and I also do sound baths, but I'm really getting into now, I'm building an app. So I'm built to where folks can actually access all of the sound healing tools and do exercises. So in the moment, you can get what you need, but also how to build a daily practice that allows us to reflect, get into our breath, and get tuned, like allow our bodies to just get tuned to the natural frequencies, so that it's like proactive instead of reactive, right? So yeah, that's what I'm doing now, and I got $50,000 from the SFAC.
Girl, get your money.
Expand my documentary. I got $5,000 from the AAACC, the African American Arts and Culture Complex.
Nice.
A few years ago to go to Zimbabwe, film with the traditional healers there, and in order to bring back that knowledge and share it with the community. But the documentary is actually called Black Healing, Afro-listic Black Healing from Zimbabwe to the Bay. So I got the money to do the Zimbabwe side. Now I have the money to do the Bay side, so we're going to be doing all the San Francisco organizations that support and offer space for the Black community to heal, the wellness practitioners to actually offer those services, and the community members who are impacted. So we can see this full picture of not just the Black healing that's happening in other like here, but also how it connects to our ancestral healing practices as well. That's a little bit about sound healing and this unique approach that I've developed that allows us to honor our communities and honor our history and culture while we heal together. And if you are interested and you want to get a private session, you can definitely reach out to me. So my website is Ujama, UJAMAA-INC.com, or you can find me on Instagram, afro.listic, same for YouTube, afro.listic. You can also find me at Ujama LLC on LinkedIn. And you can find me also through Google. You can just get into Google Maps and look up Ujama LLC in California. You'll find me, and you'll find all of the beautiful reviews that tell you just how powerful this medicine is.